Oh?
Mr. Romo, what do you mean when you say that you're hung up? When you came to the studio this morning, you were over 2 hours late, and when I asked you where you'd been, you said that you had gotten hung up.
Yes, I had hung up. That's like the all-purpose excuse, you know? If I was going to say it in English, I'd say, I know I'm late, but something very involved that wasn't my fault happened, and it ate into my time. Well, like I had to wait for a long-distance call.
Oh, is that what it was? You had to wait for a telephone.
No, I got hung up. You don't understand. Look, you say hung up when you want to discourage further inquiries, you know? Hung up is a universal cop. It's the one excuse that can't be questioned. You know, like if you're waiting for somebody who's late, he doesn't show at all. And then when you see him again, he says, I'm sorry, baby, I got hung up. It takes the burden of being angry off everybody, you know? Because it wasn't anybody's fault. Like you were suddenly snatched out of wherever you were and locked into space for an hour. And there you were, yelling and screaming, and suddenly, boom, right back into reality. And the first words you hear are, you're late. And you say, well, I'm sorry, man, I got hung up. And the only thing to say to that is, wow, it must have been terrible.
Sorry, I am.
Yeah. Well, there are all kinds of hang-ups. In fact, talking about hang-ups is a hang-up. You know, and the more you talk about it, it can become a drag. Because it's, anyway, if you say Max is a very hung-up cat, the meaning is different because you're saying he's got psychological problems, he's very twisted, he's blocked. Anything that can command your attention exclusively is a hang-up. Like I was over at this cat's house, and he went into the bathroom, and he was gone for, an hour and a half. So his old lady went in after him, like any old lady should. And what had happened, I think he had accidentally dropped some cigarette ash into this bathtub, then he got hung up and watched it float. This same cat walks into Figaro's one day, and he's got no hair at all on his head except for maybe a couple of little tufts. And there are 3 or 4 band-aids stuck around his ears, and I say, hey man, what happened to your hair? And he says, I was shaving and I got hung up. This could happen. Look, practically everybody has gotten hung up one time or another counting the holes in the acoustical tile, right?
I think we're getting hung up on this subject, Mr. Romo.
Big man, it's a very important thing. Here's a hang-up. Did you ever just sit and think for a minute how large your tongue is?
No, I can't say I have.
Just think about it. A tongue is a very large thing.
I've never thought about it before. My George, it certainly fills up most of your mouth, doesn't it?
It's big, yeah?
Strange. This enormous muscle in the middle of my head. It makes it a little difficult to talk, doesn't it?
Like in Zen. The Zen Buddhists have these koans. They're riddles that you meditate on. And the whole purpose of the riddles is to hang you up. Like, we know the sound of 2 hands, but what is the sound of 1 hand? Now, that's had Buddhist monks hung up for years.
Mr. Romo, I'm afraid we're going to have to take a break for a few minutes.
Oh, really? Okay.